Hello, guys. Welcome to another interview with one of our FTMO traders. And today it is Alex from Hamilton in New Jersey, US. All right, Alex. So, welcome at the interview. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again. It was hard to get here, but we're here. Thank you so much.
All right. And, guys, for those of you who are maybe watching us for the first time, FTMO is a proprietary trading firm, and we are looking for experienced traders who, upon passing our evaluation process, get to manage an FTMO account with up to $200,000. And that is something that Alex managed not long ago. You are currently on a $100,000 FTMO account, but more to that later. So, give us a little bit of more information on your beginnings, like you and trading. How did it like all started?
Man, it was the craziest thing. First of all, I'm Alex Romero. I'm 22 years old, and I started trading about 2.5 years ago. It was right before everything started locking down in New Jersey or in the United States. Actually, I used to be a personal trainer at a gym, and how I started trading 2.5 years ago was, I worked at a gym, but I worked out at a different gym because I didn't like being at one place all day. I would just get sick of it. So while I'm at this other gym, I get a call from my boss, and he goes, "Hey, just a heads up, we're gonna close down like gyms." And I was like, I stopped my workout. I was like, I just lost my job. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for it, this and that. Um, and I had no idea what I was gonna do. Although I had this one friend from high school that I would work out with, who did forex, but I was never interested in it because at the time I was a sophomore in college. I was a personal trainer. I thought I had everything figured out what I
Mhm.
wanted to do. So I never really questioned him on like learning or anything. It wasn't until I lost my job where the next day, the very next day, I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, would you be open to teaching me trading?" Um, and thank God for him. Shout out Ty. He helped me out the very next day, and from that day, when I first opened up TradingView, I never stopped, and it's been 2.5 years. Um, and that's how I started learning forex. And after the first week of really like locking in and sitting down at like I spent 12 hours a day for the first week. Like the day after I basically like lost my job, it was just forex. It was just trading, trading, trading. And I decided to put everything I had into this because I saw the potential trading had from the very first day, from the very first week. And I dropped everything and I put everything I had into trading about 2.5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So losing your previous job is like sort of like forced you into going to forex. That's quite unusual because usually, the way people start trading is like sort of as a hobby, but you took it like, okay, I gotta go this way. I gotta give it 100%, or I'm screwed.
Yeah, I had nothing. I'm telling you, I remember that day I was in the gym and I was just like, I can't not work. I have like my car to pay at the time, and it wasn't a lot, but for I was 20 at the time, 19, and like eh, oh my, like it's a lot. I was in college. I was like, I really need to work. So the day I lost my job, the next day I started trading forex. And I never looked back. I never even ended up going back to the gym either. A couple months later when they opened up, I never went back to the gym, and I even dropped out of college my senior
Uh-huh.
year last semester um to do this.
Okay.
And it was the craziest thing ever. I just dropped everything for this.
Wow. So that's a real like 100% commitment. Um,
Yeah.
so you mentioned that your friend actually introduced you to Forex. So I imagine you started on a demo account, or did you like go really all in and put your
S-
real money into
So
it?
so because I left college, again I was just, and for everybody watching, I don't recommend nobody do what I did. Do what you want. Leaving college your senior year and your last semester is very big, but I did it because I was very sure of what I wanted to do, right? So um so I couldn't really trade on a real account because I had just lost my job and I just left college. So whatever I traded with, that's the money I was going to use to survive for, because I've been working since high school, so I was going to use my savings to survive while I learned how to trade, right? So I dropped everything. I started doing forex, and I couldn't really open up a real account, so I would trade demo. I would trade demo, But since I learned about Forex, I also learned about FTMO. I actually never went through I never blew an account. I never had a real account that I blew. I never traded real technically. I always knew about FTMO and I always knew that hey, with like bigger capital is bigger returns. And that's what I wanted. I couldn't really put my money into a real account because I had to survive. So like I just went straight for the FTMO accounts, the FTMO challenges. Very prematurely. I'm sure I don't know if you saw, but I failed a bunch of times. But it was very prematurely, and I guess that's blowing an account to me
Mm-hmm.
because I failed so many times. But I actually never really blown an account. So I would trade demo. I traded demo for about 4 months, and then I started my FTMO journey. But I always had FTMO in mind since the day I learned.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So technically, blowing up your accounts, it didn't cost you tens of thousands of dollars, but just a couple of challenge fees.
Yeah, but you know when you're going for the 100K one, it was like so much, man. It was technically like blowing an account.
Okay, I see. Well, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking because psychology must have been like crazy, right? Because even for people who are like, who have their savings, have a stable job, it is still like super demanding to stay concentrated at Forex. And if you get in a losing streak, right, you must be like mentally so strong. And I'm thinking for you, you went all in, right? You it doesn't sound like you would have like a lot of money, left. So for you, it must have been like really, really super demanding to cope up with some losses or lost challenges.
It, what I've been yeah, it's been crazy, man. Like um I so over the past so after I started learning of Forex, it took 2.5 years for me to finally be profitable, and that was about a couple months ago. And I used up everything I had, and it's safe to say that I made it right in time. I used up everything I had, and yeah, it was very scary. Definitely have to be very strong because like leaving college, having everybody tell you to go back to go finish, everybody, and I mean
Yeah,
everybody.
I see. Well, it's the
Um,
right thing, right? You just said it yourself that you don't recommend it to anyone. So,
yeah, I don't recommend it to anybody, but if you really believe, you should do it, and that's that's the key thing, man. If I had lost belief, there's so many times where I wanted to quit, and I was like, I want to go register back for classes, I want to go back to the gym, but you just gotta keep going, man. And it was the hardest thing ever, to be honest, but now we're here, and I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody to watching, man, like don't stop because over the past 2.5 years, I lost the challenge about like 6, 7 times. I never had a real account to blow, but I've been through the challenge 6, 7 times over the past 2.5 years. And when you're losing and you have nothing to fall back on, it's the craziest thing ever. But don't stop because you'll get there.
Mm.
You'll get there as long as you keep going.
Do you think this like super tough process of having to go through all of this has made you like psychologically more strong, so that will potentially could help you in the future while trading?
Yeah, yeah. And like everything you go through in the charts and dealing with all of this, it really like correlates to your life. It does teach you to be stronger, mentally and emotionally, and controlling your emotions in everyday life. Um, you know, Trading puts you through the craziest emotions, and I've always felt like, yeah, it does help you in real life. It does help you really be stronger mentally, especially when you're going through all this. Especially after so many times of losing, it's like how low can you really go? Like I've
Hmm.
seen it, and yeah, honestly, like it all has led up to making my trading to what it is now, and it's been better than ever.
Okay. Well, speaking of trading, I've seen that you got a very specific trading style. Like more to that later, but uh, is it something that you have developed on your own, or something that you sort of like took from the friend that introduced you to the forex? Like, is your trading style similar to what he does?
So when I was learning with my friend, he had taken a couple things from an academy that he was a part of, and so basically what he had taught me was just the basic like support and resistances, and it was like no way how I trade now. It was like the craziest thing ever. Like I was trading something that wasn't even trading to me now that I look back on it. It was basically just like if it breaks the support and resistance, you just buy, and if it breaks under, you just sell with no other
Yeah.
real confluences, no other indicators, nothing else. Um And then as time went on, you know, like I ended up developing my own strategy, learning on my own how to put these indicators together. Although I have to thank, you know, the people who you've had on here before. There are some people who, like, you know, you go on YouTube and you learn from, such as like Raul and like all these YouTube videos that people put out. So I would just go on YouTube and I would take away from everybody
Mm-hmm.
and put everything together, and um and that's how I came up to how I trade now. And it's basically just a combination of everything that I've seen and I've learned over the years.
Okay, so you're like absorbing the information you got from YouTube or internet, you know, took a bit of everyone and put it together and made your own trading strategy.
Yep,
Okay,
exactly.
okay. From your trading, I saw that you're trading at night, right?
I am.
Okay, so how does it come up with your social life and life in general? Because I saw that you're trading like almost at night. I saw that you passed your challenge and verification and also your FTMO account trading only at night. So that's something
Yep.
I'm not sure I've seen with one of our FTMO traders. So yeah, how does it work out for you?
Well, in terms of trading London session, it kind of chose me. I honestly couldn't tell you when I decided to pick a session. I just started trading the London session since I like started in the very beginning. Um, and in terms of my social life, I love it, man. Like, you know, like, cause I trade at night, you know, and sometimes, you know, if I don't have a trade London, I'll take it early New York. I'll take it like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. But it's primarily at nighttime. But in terms of my social life, man, for me, the way I look at it is I wake up and I get to do whatever I want now for the rest of the day. The hardest thing about it is killing time to go trade because I trade at 1 in the morning,
Yeah.
and all I want to do is trade. So I just want to run through my day. I want to wake up late. I go to the gym. That's my other passion outside of forex. Um, and for me, it's not a problem. I love it. I do whatever I please throughout the day and just try to kill time until I get to trade again.
Okay, nice. So you pretty much spend the whole day, you know, doing what you like and just looking forward to the night and to actually trade and make some money.
Yeah, man, but like I love to just waste my time throughout the day, man. I love to get to that pre-London time. I love to get to that pre-London time.
Okay, just a few seconds ago, you mentioned the use of indicators. So do you use indicators? Is it a part of your trading setup?
I use a couple. My trading is based on technical analysis. The indicators I really use are you know, I use a moving average. And I guess for as of indicators, that's really it. I might use the RSI to look at, you know, oversold or overbought markets. Other than that, it's mainly technical analysis in terms of market structure,
Hmm.
support and resistance. I may use a fib, but other than that, I like to think my trading is very dependent on reading price. That's the most important thing to me. Reading price and reading market structure and see where the trend is going.
Okay, could you like elaborate on that a bit, maybe for those viewers who are not really familiar with what you mean by reading a price?
Again, when we get to the chart, it'll be a lot easier to show. But when you're reading price, like I like to look at every candle and tell and see what it's telling me in terms of momentum, how it closes, where it's at and what it's doing. And again, I'll be able to show this a lot more while when I break down the trade. Um, and yeah, it's just price action is just reading what each candle does, and it's very important because each candle, I guess, it tells a story, and that helps me in influencing my decision and going long or short for the night.
Okay. Last
Yeah.
question before we get to the chart actually. You have passed the verification, the challenge, and you're trading on your FTMO account only the GBP JPY pair. So why is
Yeah.
that?
So this is a very big thing for anybody watching, and that was probably the biggest key thing in being consistent. I was trading a lot. I was trading I would consider myself a forex trader, so I didn't want to hold myself to one pair. And you would hear from all these people, hey, get along with one pair, get to know one or two pairs, trade one or two pairs, you know, build a relationship with it. And you know, you like brush that off. You're like, you know, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm a forex trader. I would trade the market how I want. But that was the biggest thing in being consistent with me is when I started sticking to one pair and really realizing what it does at what time, and realizing how to trade it. It was the biggest game changer ever, and I it, I don't even want to trade anything else ever. I'm sure that'll change, but man, I love GJ. Like I feel like GJ is mine.
Okay, good. All right, so here we are at the chart, and we see nothing else but your favorite GBP JPY. So I assume
Yep.
you have prepared some trade or a couple of trades to break down and to really show us how you really trade and how you really made the profit that we're talking about. So yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yep. So I wanted to break down this trade. This was during the the um the 12K that I made. I wanted to break down this trade because it was the best trade I felt in terms of like really seeing what I mean by breaking down each candle and reading price. Um so basically again I trade based off technical analysis, right? So I like to use everything I can to really influence my decision on where I want to go. Starting off with the higher time frames, right? I like to break it down. So, I go down to the weekly, right? And I like to break down each time frame, and I like to do two things. I like to mark off my support and resistances, and I like to also see market structure, where the market's heading and what kind of trend are we in. So immediately as we can see on the weekly time frame, um in GJ we kind of reached an area where we haven't really reached it since July, or no, 2014, 15, 16. Um, and so it was kind of hard to gauge where, an area of support and resistance can be drawn. You do see that we have this big area where price is rejecting, and if you can see, it lines up with this wick we have over here.
Uh-huh.
So I like to draw a nice a little supply and demand area right here on the weekly. Supply and demand is also like supply and demand, support and resistance. All depends on what kind of trader you are. Um, and then I mark off another area where I see, which is a area of support and resistance right here, where you see resistance from the bottom and you see support from the top, making a very valid area of support and resistance. Um, and then after I mark down my areas, I like to see what price is doing on the weekly time frame in terms of market structure. Price ended up breaking above, created a higher high, created a higher low, and now to me, to my eye, it seems like price is now going to reach to these highs up here. Um, right? So after I set down on the weekly, I have a bullish trend. I set down my support and resistances, and I go down to the next time frame. So the
Okay.
next time frame would be
I,
next time frame would be the
By the
daily
way, I
time frame.
wouldn't really expect you because generally you're holding your trades for several minutes usually, and you're using weekly time frame or weekly candles. That's something I
Yeah,
wouldn't really expect.
yeah. And you'll see why I hold them for so short. I have a saying, um, perfect precision and positions, because there's nothing better than having a perfect entry, right? Where you're not dealing with,
Yeah.
and it'll always happen, it's not always going to be like that. But like the reason why I hold them for so short is because my take profits usually hit um pretty quickly. But sometimes it's not always the case. I might end up seeing myself swinging a position or holding it for a couple extra hours. But I do start off from the weekly time frame, even though I don't hold it for too long, because that does help me overall with the direction. So for the weekly time frame, um, I have price reaching these highs up here, right? I have price reaching these highs up here based on the weekly time frame. But on the lower time frames, I want to see what's happening now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to predict what's going to happen on the week. So when you go down in the daily time frame, I do the same thing, support and resistance, and then see what market structure is doing, right? So I see a nice area here where we have this wick, and we have this rejection for a couple of days. And the reason why I would mark this area is because when you really like put it in simpler terms, you have this area over here, you have this wick, you have wicks over here, and you want to think about it as of like how many times has this rejected this area, right? If you think about it, we couldn't break this area for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, right? 6 days where where price kept on rejecting this area. So this is an area of concern where price could reject from, right? Um, and then after I have my daily support and resistance marked off, right, we're gonna mark it off with a different color. I see that price is going bullish, right? Price has rejected this area off the weekly time frame. We're going bullish. And I'm looking to continue this trend, although I like to be cautious because of this area right here,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I do know that I have a bullish bias so far in my mind. Um, and then I like to break it down to the lower time frame, to the 4 hour. This is where I like to really look at where I really like to look at candles, right? Because this is where the majority of my analysis is going to come from. So same thing. The H4, I'm going to mark off support and resistances. I can see right here, I can see that we have all this rejection over here. We have countless hours over here of rejection to the upside. Over here, if we just draw a straight line across, we see that price. There's clearly a key area right around in here,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have support and resistance to my eye. We're rejecting up here. We have countless hours rejecting to the upside here. We have all these wicks to the downside here, making this area an area of support and resistance, and an area where price can go long. The most important thing is that I trade London sessions, so I start taking trades pre-London. So you're basically looking at me going into this day at 1 o'clock, analyzing it the same exact way, right? So I have a bullish bias on all time frames. If you look at the 4 hour after I draw my support and resistance, I see that price is making higher highs, higher lows, another higher high, and currently at a higher low, right? We're currently at a higher low. I have a bullish mindset. I have a bullish bias so far because of all the time frames I've analyzed, and we're at a support and resistance. So I'm looking for price to go long here, but I wanted to add a little bit more confluence. Why else would it go long from here other than a support and resistance? Well, if you take the Fibonacci retracement, and you go from low to high, we are also holding perfectly at a 50 at the point 50 level on the fib. And also, I also mentioned using the exponential moving average. So when you go down to the lower time frame, again, this is what I mean. Like, you see countless hours of rejecting this area of support and resistance right here. So in my mind, going into London session, I have a very strong bias of price going long from here. Starting off with the weekly, daily, 4 hour, right? So now that I have my bias, now that I know where I want to go, go to the lower time frames to see where I'm gonna get in,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want to see where I want to get in, and where I could get the best entry, right? And after I decide where I want to go, after I mark off my support and resistances, um, I want to know where I'm gonna get out, right? So I already know I want to go long from here, as long as I get my entries, and I will show you that. But I also want to know where I want to get out beforehand because I'm gonna enter soon. Um, so typically, because of the 4 hour, right, the overall trend, price is gonna swing all the way up to here. That's where I want it to go to. But I'm not gonna hold till there. When you go down to the 1 hour, you have all these wicks to the upside, right? And that was just an area of concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was comfortable taking profit at because price was more than I mean my trade was more than 2 times my risk. So I wanted to take profit at these highs. And if it went farther, it went farther. The overall projection was this area of support and resistance because of the 4 hour, but I wanted to hold until the recent highs. And if it broke further, it broke further. So this is where I was going to get out. I now have my bias. I'm going long, and now I'm going to go down to the lower time frame, right? I'm going to go down to 15 and the 5 minute, right? And this is where I like to draw minor areas of support and resistance because when you come into session, you see that price has gone low, and now we created a little mini range on the 15 minute, right? We're just bouncing off this area. When you go down to the 5 minute, you can see it a little bit more clearly, right? You can
Yeah.
see this area right here, this little minor area where we're holding at before session, right? So now as we push towards 3 o'clock, where the open of London, that's even better for me because I know I'm gonna get that London volume hit when the trade comes. Um, so prices in this range, I have my long position set. I'm looking to take impulse entries. I want to take it to my TP. I'm gonna set it under this area of support and resistance. And basically now, um, I have my bias. It's at my area of interest. It's at a support and resistance. It's at a fib level. Now I'm just waiting for a shift in the lower time frame. I want to catch the second that lower time frame starts to shift because it's gonna go my way, right? Because like if I'm taking the trade, it's because I'm confident it's gonna go my way, and I want to get that nice sniper entry. So I am a big fan of impulse entries.
Mm-hmm.
And as the trade plays out, I wait for it to break this minor area of resistance. I also have a little break even point, right? As you can see, this little minor area is a little break even point. Once I get here, I go to break even, and then I manage my trade closely, right? Because price can always come back, try to take you out. You got to get back in. But thank God, thankfully, I didn't have to deal with that. As you see, we're gonna go. Price drops right back down. No problem. We wanted an impulse entry. This is where patience pays, right? Um, price is gonna keep on playing around. Price is gonna keep on playing around. And the second we start to see this candle break is when we get in. And as you see, we're in already. I'm watching this 5 minute happen. It's 250. It's 10 minutes before London, so it's even better for me. The closer to London, the better. And price just breaks out. Price flies to my break even point. Um, and I basically price keeps on flying, and if you keep on holding, price ended up taking my final take profit. Right there. It was a no drawdown trade, sniper entry. It was about over 2 times my risk. And again, that was my take profit. I like to be secure. I like to secure my 2%, my 3%. But again, if you wanted to hold, it just kept on going to the 4 hour highs, as I predicted. Although, again, I like to primarily trade Linden. I like to stay in Linden.
Hmm.
So, you could have swung that. I could have held it, but I like to just get out, take my 2, 3% and be done with the trade.
Okay, well, I can see that patience was really necessary here because I imagine a lot of traders would be, starting to get a bit afraid of their profit because we can see that the price has been moving in that area from 162.7 to 162.9 like for a bit. So
Yep.
you're the type of trader who like sets the take profit, the stop loss, and you just you don't really move it unless something really unusual happens. You just like
Yep.
stick to the plan and you don't really touch it.
Stick to the plan. That is the biggest thing, man. I hate when I try to predict something and I go away from the plan and I lose because now I just lost doing something I don't even do. If I took this trade and for some reason price like came up here and just reversed and broke down, cool, right? Like whatever, like because I did everything. I got the entry I wanted, but um, if I lost trying to like just predict that this was gonna break out and not really waiting and not really having patience for it to really come up, that I would have really been mad. But yeah, um, stick to the trading plan. That's the biggest thing for me. Losing any other way than when you trade your trading plan is the worst thing ever.
Okay, so if you lose a
Because
trade which has been like according to your plan, it's like fine compared to when you lose a trade because you got scared or something and you started making unnecessary decisions and you were biased and that's why you lost the trade. So I imagine losing a trade which was in accordance with your plan feels way better. Well, feels better.
yeah,
Not as
because you
bad.
know because you know why you lost, right? When you know why you lost and you know it, you're gonna learn from it. Don't do it again. But when you get anxious and you just want to get in the trade and you do something and you end up losing, it makes that loss so much worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, if I suffer a loss like that, my biggest problem is wanting to come back already the next night and take a trade,
Oh yeah,
and that's
revenge
the
trading.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
waiting. Oh, again, I don't do nothing all day but go to the gym. So I'm waiting all day. I just want to trade. I want to trade. I want to trade. And that can really affect your psychology going into the next night. If you lose following your trading strategy, you lose and you know why you lost, and it makes it so much better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay. Well, you just broke down a nice confluence of signals, whether it is the support and resistance over multiple time frames, Fibonacci, and so on. Uh, Recently, just the British pound, very volatile. Are you looking at fundamentals as well?
I try to, I try to look at what's going on in terms of news and like current events. And sometimes I do get real into it because when I was in college, I was a history major, so I loved learning about all these. I love learning about the yen and the pound and what can affect the economy and what can affect the currency.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do good at it, but nah, I'm mainly a technical analysis trader. Um, I try to be better on fundamentals. I know it could probably elevate my trading, and I do it, and I try to make an effort, but primarily and mostly all technical analysis.
Okay. When there is some big fundamental coming up, for example, some monetary policy decision, are you trying to use it, or are you trying not to trade, or you just don't care?
Um, I wouldn't say I don't care, but I like if there's big events coming, if there's a big news folder coming, I like to wait until after to see what price does after. It's always tricky trading when news comes out, and it's scarier, and you don't really have to, right? You don't need to trade every night. So when news comes out, I don't really care for it. If I see nothing really happens, I just go along with my trading strategy, and price usually ends up playing out. I do
Mhm.
try to avoid trading with big news coming out, but sometimes the news might push it into my favor. So I try to just catch that momentum in the lower time frame if news is coming out, and
Okay,
be extra cautious.
I see. Well, now let's go back to the fact that GBP JPY is being the only pair you trade.
Yeah.
What you just show us, right? The strategy that you use, is that something that has been working for you for a while and you're just elevating strategy, or do you constantly try to find something new that really works well for you on GBP JPY?
In terms of looking for something new, I try to look for things that can tweak my trading, right? Maybe like like you know noticing different patterns, or like right here, like looking back at it, like this could have been like I didn't even see this until right now. This could have been a double bottom. I just, in terms of learning something new, I try to like just pick apart things in a trade, but I don't try to trade up my trading strategy. This is a trading strategy that I've learned, and has worked on different pairs. The problem is when you trade different pairs, for me personally and for everybody watching, the problem came from trading multiple players, and then and you're basically splitting up your risk between multiple pairs, and that's what I found like the problem was, right? Like this same strategy, this confluence trading strategy would work on other pairs, but when you're trading so many pairs, you're bound to lose one, you're bound to lose two, and then you end up losing more. I felt like, sticking to GJ, it was the best decision for my trading career. Actually, it was the best decision for my trading career to stick to one pair and really get to know it. Because this strategy, when you stick one strategy to one pair, it's only gonna get better because you're learning what happens, why you're in you're getting more experience. You're seeing what candles do, and you're just adjusting and you're tweaking things to that one pair. So that's why I do trade GJ, and it was the best career decision so far.
Okay. Um, a very simple question coming up. Why GJ? Why not USD? Why not gold? Why not GBP USD? Why GJ?
So again, I traded a lot. I traded I traded GBP USD, GBP JPY, I traded Euro USD, AUD USD. I traded gold. I traded a lot. The reason why I picked GJ is because um again, I think it kind of just chose me. I couldn't really tell you when I decided to trade these pairs. I couldn't tell you when I decided to trade GJ, GU, or Y. When I learned, I just picked up these pairs. And as time went on, after all my failed challenges and all my, like, my trading log that I used to have, I would see that, I was actually a lot more successful on GJ, even though I would lose still. So I would kind of just pick apart like GU and GJ until I finally got rid of GU and I ended up with just GJ.
Okay, okay, interesting. I was looking at the matrix of yours just recently, and I saw that it's in some trades you do use stop losses and somewhere you don't. So how does it really work? Like, do you also do that you just watch the trade and you just close it whenever you want or whenever it feels good?
No, so in terms of stop loss, I feel like I always set a stop loss. If I don't set a stop loss initially, it's because again, like in this trade right here, right? We had an impulse entry to the upside. Um like this candle right here on the 5 minute when I entered, for example, blew up, right? It blew up for 7 pips, which isn't a lot, but we're now in the like we're already pushing up.
Mm-hmm.
I like to just enter the trade, as quick as I can. As it breaks above, well, and I'll add the TP and I'll add the stop loss later because I just want to get in the trade. The more it breaks above, the risk to reward gets worse, and I like to maximize my wins. And I'll add it later. I'll add the stop loss after. Um, but primarily, I always have a stop loss. What I stopped putting was a take profit because I've been taking profit so quick. I've been taking profit so quick recently, and it's not always going to be like that. That when price would get up here, you know, when price would come up here, I would see I would always notice price would break above, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what if I didn't have a take profit and I'm watching it? There's no reason for me to just watch. I could just watch it and close out above more. So that's why I started taking the TP. I realized I can make a lot more without a TP, but that isn't safe. Set a take profit. Especially if you're trading London and you can't stay up. I always try to I always try to set a take profit. If I don't and I take it off, it's because I'm wide awake. I'm watching the trade. I'm about to hit profit, and it might break through. So I'll just take off for profit and close on my own.
Okay. Do you keep watching all of your trades, or do you also just do set and forget?
I watch most of my trades, right?
Uh-huh.
If there's a night where like it's 5 in the morning, I'm at break even. Um, I have a little bit of TP. I'll take a nap. I'll wake up like every hour after that. But primarily, usually I'm staying up and I'm watching the entire trade.
Okay. All right. So here in your account matrix, first of all, we can see that the lens curve is pretty consistent, right? There are no giant dips, which is always good and which is always something that we want our traders to do because we want to avoid these big jumps. So one thing that really caught my attention, if you scroll down a little to the statistics,
Yep. Right here, the objective or statistics?
yeah, here we are. Here are statistics. Their risk
Cool.
reward is like really high, and I saw that at the verification here it's like 8.7, and the verification it was over 15, I believe, which is something that's not very common, right? We do see a risk reward above 1, but like 9 and 15, that is something not really too frequent. So do you, when you take trades, do you calculate the risk reward? Do you calculate the win rate? Do you use these stats?
Well, it all depends, right? Like, I love this. I love what FTMO has. Although, um, like to other traders, I wouldn't, I would take the statistics, however you want to take it. In terms of, yeah, I have a 8.6 risk to reward ratio, and I have a 52% win rate. But if you really look over, right, like you got to know what's really true to you and what's not. Um, like for me, I do calculate risk to reward. I usually set 1%. 1% of 100K is 1,000 to make about 2 or 3 times my risk, right? Um, the reason why my risk to reward is so high, if we're being honest, isn't because I'm making 8 times my risk to reward, right? I'm always risking 1%, but it's because I have these trades sometimes, as you see, I have these trades where like I'll get out like this day right here. I ended up wanting to get out break even. I didn't think it was a good trade, and I traded the next day, right? But this counts as a loss, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's a $60 loss. So when I come back and make 3%, these numbers are gonna be a little inflated, so I wouldn't really like to hype myself up and say that I have a 9 risk to reward. To me, a loss is when I lose a full percent, and a win is when I make the 2 or 3 times my risk. So if you see over here, there was only one time where I really lost a full trade, where I really lost a full percent, and that was right here. This was the 8th of June, where I lost 1% between two positions. It was 564, 567. And if you look over here, this is what I love because this is more true to what I, what I how good I think I am, right? 2%, 1.7, 2%, 2%. It's an average of a 2% risk to reward ratio, right? The reason why it's so high, is because of these small little get in and get out, right? I have it again right here. I got in and I got out. But and same with the win rate, right? Like, if it's 50%, I don't think that's good. Personally, I don't think that's not that it's not good, but I know I won more than 50%
Yeah.
of my wins. As you can see right here, right? I lost one trade where I lost a full percent, over a percent. So to me, like, this is overinflated, and this is under inflated, if that makes any sense to
Yeah,
me.
I get it.
Um, so to all the traders, man, don't get discouraged by this. Don't get discouraged by your win rate because again, FTMO is gonna calculate it like this, right? Um, but yeah, I do love this, right? I do love the stats because FTMO does show you what how long you're holding a trade for. It shows you your results from selling or buying. And I love this part of FTMO, right? I love everything. But in terms of for other traders, if you see like your win rate being low and you know that it's because of this, don't get discouraged. These are just numbers at the end of the day.
I
What
think,
matters is
yeah,
this right here.
I think the numbers that actually might be more accurate are the average profit and the average loss. We can see the average profit is about 1.4%. The average loss is only $159, right? So this is
Yeah.
something that indicates that the losses are usually, or not usually, but a lot of losses are actually just a few dollars. That's one
Yeah.
thing that is actually kind of interesting to me. I mean, what actually makes you close a trade after just a few minutes, right? You set a stop loss, you set a take profit, and after like a few minutes, you're like, nah, I'm gonna close it right away.
Yeah. Well, I'm human, man, and we all go through emotions. I still do, even though I've been in this for 2.5 years. So, like sometimes I will get the occasional like buy, confident, put my phone down, go watch something, come back
Mhm.
10 minutes later, manage the trade. But there are some times where the trade is trickier. There are trades where I'm analyzing and it's not as clear, but I do believe it'll go my way. So that's when you'll get in, and I'll be like, you know what? Let me wait for a better entry. I'll get out, and then I'll get in for a real time, and then I'll leave it. And that's usually what really happens when I have these exits of $26 and $15. That's what really happens. I still go through the emotions. I still get in and get out. But when I'm in, you're in, right? There's nothing worse than getting in and getting out, and then it goes your way. I'd rather lose. I'd much rather lose, and I make it a point. And man, like if you're in, right? Because if you get out, you're gonna be crying. You're gonna be telling yourself, "Man, what if I held? I would have made this much." That's what you don't want
Yeah.
to play in trading. That's what you don't want to get into. You don't want to get into that habit.
Okay. Uh, Obviously you're already doing pretty well, but is this something that you would like to improve, right? These emotions sometimes taking over your trading decision, or uh, let's put it this way: what would you think is something that you can really improve on the most?
If I had to improve on something, it would it would be the emotions. It would be two things. As crazy as it sounds. Um, One, it stopped falling asleep. Right, last week. Trading London last week. If I don't take my nap earlier in the day, I missed out on 2 trading days last week, and I'm so mad about it. Like, it's it's ridiculous. Like, like I go to sleep and then 30 minutes later is my entry. I wake up and I missed it. And two, it would be, controlling my emotions more. That's what trading is. It's all emotions. I want to get rid of these get in and get out, right? Get in and get out. I'm almost pretty sure that in this, like, get in and get out, it went my way after, and that's what I was just talking about. It. That's the worst thing. Is playing that woulda, coulda, shoulda game in trading. That's what you don't want to get into, right? You don't want to, don't want to play that. If you lost, you lost. You won, you won. And that's my thing, is dealing with emotions, right? Like when you're in a trade, my biggest thing is what I try to tell myself is just stay in. You're in, stay in, and trust your trade. That's what I would like to get better at, because, I see these returns, but every night is a new night, like I love the adrenaline it brings. Every night you can still lose. It's still a possibility. And I love that. Right. And I love that I could lose and I could be on my like toes for the rest of the night. Um, so controlling those emotions, and like staying in and getting in and is like probably somewhere I need to like, improve on, because I want to get rid of these little losses right here.
Mhm.
15, 26, 69. That's just emotions, right? Buying, getting out. You don't need that. It makes your trading a lot harder.
Okay. All right. So here we are in the last part of our interview. You just had a nice withdrawal of, or you made about $12,000. Now I can see that you're managing a new FTMO account. Currently, you're in a profit of about $2,000, something like that, right?
I am.
All right. So yeah, what are your plans for the future? You're now managing $100,000. So, you want to keep on increasing the capital, or is this something what you're comfortable with? What are the
Yeah,
plans?
man. Actually, I feel like there's no time to waste. And after my second, withdrawal date, I do want to reinvest that money, and I want to go for another account, and I want to just keep on building the capital and keep on making as much money as I can, because like, I hate talking about money, money, money,
Hmm.
but I do this for me and my family.
Yeah.
And what I've been through, that's all I've been envisioning for the past 2.5 years. So my goal is to increase my capital and go for the account again and again until you guys can't give me more capital.
Okay, so do you feel like you started trading 2.5 years ago? So uh is this something that you imagine would happen? Like, is this the best possible future that you could have thought of? Back in the day, being a FTMO trader, having an interview, was that something that you imagine could potentially happen maybe? And now, here we are. So do you have some vision for the future like that's even more than this?
Yeah, I did kind of always picture this, since since I dropped everything for this. And again, I told you, man, I used to tell my friends, I'm gonna be like, because you fail so many times, you're just angry now. You're not angry, but like you're just like you want it already. And I would tell myself, I'm gonna be like, man, like when I finally get it, I want to be interviewed by FTMO, and it was the craziest thing ever. And I'm really big on believing, and what you believe is what you get. And it was crazy because I'll never forget. I walked out the gym. I got your email, and I was like, I just spoke this like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I just got my FTMO account. Now I'm getting an interview, and this is something I always, and that's the most important thing. You have to really picture yourself there for it to happen. Um, and I apologize. I still sound a little congested from last
Yeah,
week,
it's
but
fine.
yeah, this is what I envisioned for myself. And that's the most important thing is to picture yourself where you want to be so you can get there. I cannot stress that enough. Say it, believe it, and speak it, and speak it, and speak it until you can't anymore. Until everybody around you is tired of hearing it. Because I'm telling you, I've been there. I wanted to quit so many times. I didn't know if leaving college was the right thing at some point, and then now I'm here with you. As for the future, yeah, I just want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to continue trading with you guys for a while. Build my capital and help out myself and my family.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Yep.
just thinking that the first few weeks, when you actually left the college and you started, training at FTMO, and you felt the first couple of challenges, it must have been like so tough because I can see that, all the other people who were, telling you don't do it, it's a bad idea. When you lost a challenge or two, they were like, hey, I told you, and now here we are. So yeah, it must be what a turn.
Yeah, I lost the challenge multiple times, like multiple times, and everybody around me told me to go back to college because I was so close. I was so close to getting my bachelor's degree, and to me, it didn't matter because that's not what I wanted to do. And I want to do what I want to do, and I would encourage everybody to do what they want to do, right? Not what other people want you to do, because you only get one chance at life, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm not gonna stop until I make it. And yeah, it's been the craziest ride ever, man.
Yeah, I imagine there is a lot of people that are in a similar situation as you were, several months ago when you were just kind of started getting into trading and you weren't really sure if it's gonna work out, but you knew that you enjoy it. So, was there something, or what would be your advice, to those people who are, maybe struggling a bit, but feel that trading is something that they want to pursue?
Like, I hate saying it because it sounds so cliche, but it's really true. Like, don't give up, man. If you already put your foot halfway through the door, you already did more than most people would, right? You're already ahead. So keep going. It's gonna get hard, and just like anything in life, you know, you're gonna have to put time in. This isn't like you get to work from home. You have these things, these things around forex of what people think it is, like get money, get rich quick. You get to work from home, you get to be on vacation working, and those things may be kind of true, but you got to get there first, right? Like you have to work your way to be consistent, to have a good skill set in trading, to be able to get there. And don't stop. Don't stop. If I had stopped, I wouldn't be here. If I had listened to everybody, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. I wouldn't have made the profit I made in those 2 weeks. Um, if I had listened to anybody but myself, I wouldn't be here. And to everybody watching, if it's hard, keep going. Don't stop. There's no reason for you to stop because you've already been through it. You might as well keep going through until you make it. You're gonna make it soon as long as you believe.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly something that I feel like people need to understand first, right? Before you even start thinking, seriously about trading, because I think it's these days, and it's the social media, right? The Instagram that, a lot of people are presenting Forex as something, just, sit at home, make a few clicks, you're gonna be making thousands of dollars every day, you know, from your couch at the beach. Like nothing, you're gonna be a millionaire in a few weeks, and that's just not how it is, right? We all know how tough forex is and how
I wish
many
it was.
hours you need to put in to actually start getting some results.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of time. I had something I wanted to say too. Yeah, and people don't understand that, and people aren't gonna stand either. When you tell people what you do, and I had so many times people tell me, my parents were telling me, "What are you doing upstairs at nighttime all night? Like, go back to school." And I'm like, just wait. Don't worry about explaining yourself to nobody. If you're in this, you're in it. And in terms of social media, that's another problem too. People do make it seem to be like this, like get rich, you know, scam or whatever. Like, no, 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 no. This is a real um skill set that you need to learn and perfect. And that's what I hope to bring. I want to grow my Instagram. I want to show people that you can do what you want, in if you have that thing that's holding you back, like I advise, go all in. And that's what I hope to do is bring up, social media, bring up my Instagram and show people like trading and teach people how to trade and teach people that you need to just believe.
Okay, so is that like one of your goals, you know, to get more following and to actually show the people, you know, how trading really looks like?
Yep, that's exactly what I want to do actually. And I felt like this whole FTMO interview thing was like a perfect introduction to it. I get to I want to start posting more, and I want to show the truths and the realities of trading because trading isn't linear at all. Like it's up and down. And people need to see that because people are gonna get into trading thinking it's something it's not. And that's what I hope I can bring to it. Because other people on social media have shown me how real it is, and that helped me get through it too. Some people that I follow, like, wow, like this has to be real. Like, look at this person making this much. Look at this person doing this. Like, so if I can help people think the same way and know that it's real and know that it's possible, I would love to do that on my Instagram, and YouTube and everything else.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Well, if you would like to tell something out to the world, to the traders, you know, literally anything that you would just want to shout out, so now's your time.
Don't stop. Do not stop. I'm telling you, don't stop. If you're already in it, keep going because it'll be worth it. I'm telling you. I used to always tell myself, man, like after I failed the challenge the first time, the second time, the third, the fourth, the fifth, I failed so many times. And I told myself so many times, man, when I finally get it and I withdraw, it's gonna feel amazing. And when I got to that point, it was amazing, and I'll tell you firsthand for the people, hopefully people are encouraged and motivated to just keep going because it gets so hard. Trading is like it's like an individual sport. You hold yourself accountable, everything is all up to you, and it's hard, because you have no one to blame but yourself. So don't stop. Do not stop.
And that's FTMO.